All right. So
Give me a
we're,
moment.
I
Is
think
it
it's
live?
working. It's
It's
working.
live.
It
Yay!
says live. Okay. Y'all got to just witness our joint moment of celebration as we figured out how to do a Facebook Live on Zoom. So everyone, you are here for CORE's innovative moment. We did it. We feel accomplished.
Oh, goodness. Learning so many things during COVID-19.
So many, which is why we want to talk about the things you can learn in a couple too during your time navigating COVID. So, for those of you joining, welcome. My name is Natalie Vartanian. This is Shandra, LaMotte. We are both part of an organization called CORE. CoreExperience.com is our website. And, we specialize in helping people learn themselves better, learn how to be in a relationship better, kind of like having the awareness to be able to operate in the world and thrive, to really feel self-expressed, to feel connected, to feel love, like all of the basically like the core, again, core things that are most important to us as humans. I believe we create a space where we can learn, we can experience, we can practice these things and really master them, and have thriving lives as a result. And so today we wanted to talk about the specific challenges and opportunities of being in partnership right now during COVID, during a pandemic, during sheltering in place, that as an individual would already be challenging enough, and then to have another person that you already have this dance of navigating in partnership. And now there's this whole other factor that's thrown in. And so Shandra, and Shandra is one of our lead facilitators at CORE and is going to be doing a mini workshop around this issue. So we wanted to talk about specifically like what's happening, what are the challenges, what are the opportunities, and how can you navigate this, like offering some kind of support around that too. And so, yeah, Shandra, I wanted to just like kick it off to you and just inquire, like, what's it been like for you, you and Nick in during this time, and like the struggles that, you two have been experiencing.
Yeah, with me and Nick, and I think we can probably, I've heard a lot of this from a lot of couples, which is there's something about being around each other almost 24/7, where even normally the spaces you might have for your individuality, for yourself, like you're just constantly bombarding with each other's defenses, each other's woundings, each other's struggles, and around each other's emotions. And so it stirs things up. And so either it feels like, and even I've seen this with me and Nick, we can either go into kind of our unconscious behaviors and patterns with each other of what looks like for us, like falling into just like fun and ease and like kind of pushing things under the rug and like almost like a stereotypical best friendship or superficial level, or like you can take intention to dive deeper with each other and to go deeper with each other and connect more deeply. If you think of during everything with COVID, if each of us as individuals, like what are we being invited to is, I think, a big question that's happening. How are you being invited to show up, whether it's more surrendered, letting go of control, showing up in leadership or service? Like there's also the question of how are us as couples being invited to show up with each other. And so that's definitely something I've seen with me and Nick is, I mean, we've definitely struggled with being around each other 24/7 and not having our normal outlets, and trying to navigate working from home with each other and trying to navigate both of each other's needs, and as well as the triggers that were already there that have just been coming to surface even more. So it's definitely not easy. It's like there's a benefit in having a partnership because there's someone to kind of, you get some of that physical touch piece. Like there's definitely benefits of it. And there's a lot of struggles of just being in constant, like, our own survivor selves and defenses are up all the time with each other too.
Right. And I can imagine that too, where then it becomes this question of like, who's supporting who, or if we're both melting down, you know, like,
Yes.
you know, like who's keeping the ship going, you know? And so you're right, like you know, normally I can kind of imagine that one or the other, usually kind of like it's this dance of like one's a bit more stable and one's a bit more kind of needing support and vice versa. But I can imagine right now when it is such a, you know, just challenging time in general, that having both people under, you know, kind of duress in a way, and how challenging that might be, and what that might bring up. You know, I'm
Yeah.
curious, like if you've noticed what has been coming up, because both of you are operating from like a, so at core, for those of you that don't know, we talk about three selves in the sense
Mhm.
of, you know, we have that part of us that, you know, is calm, peaceful, knowing, wise, like, you know, can kind of maintain a sense of objectivity and love and healthiness. And then there's the part that just wants to keep us safe, right? It just doesn't want us to get hurt. You know, we call that our kind of survivor, the part that's just like, just trying to get by, man, you know, and we'll use different tactics for that, you know, just so that we don't experience pain or hurt. Um, and so those strategies, those tendencies, you know, I'm curious if you've just noticed just a couple of things that have like come up right now, just in your own relationship.
Absolutely. Oh, I have plenty of examples. Well, one, something that's actually been extra challenging is I've noticed my emotions have been up more.
Mm,
And that's been harder to navigate with each other. And like I snapped at him, and I've never snapped at him in the past. Like I'm normally very calm, or I get like more on the ice cold side. And because we're around each other all the time, like my anger flared up and I snapped and I like took it out on him. And just even navigating that was a difficult thing we had to go through.
mm,
But I think a lot of the things is one of my survivor strategies is to suppress my needs. And actually, his is the
yeah,
same. And so we
yeah,
both have a tendency to suppress our needs to try to please the other person. And as a result, what happens is resentment can build and emotions build without we're being aware. So actually, even prior to coming on this call, he's normally been sitting at this desk and working. And I almost went into the bedroom, was like, oh, well, that's just what you have to do. He needs to do X, Y, and Z. And I noticed anger start to rise and annoyance. Oh, well, he's always at the desk or whatever else. And then I was like, oh, I clearly would like to be at the desk for this. And so what
right.
if I made that request? But normally my survivor self would have just gone and like taken one for the team, not addressed my needs, not made a request, and just gone and done that. But then I would have been left with resentment and anger towards him and never even given him a chance to show up. And so, I've just been noticing a lot of my people pleasing, how much I feel like I need to give in order to receive love. A lot of that's been like unconsciously really stirring. And then there's a lot of under emotion, like, as you know, that survivor self comes up because there's also emotions underneath that it's trying to protect.
Yeah, yes.
And so, like, my work has also been like, what are some of those emotions underneath? Like, what is that wound underneath? And it's like, oh, yeah, I'm afraid if I ask for what I need or make a request, I might upset him, or what if he doesn't love me anymore?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
then as a result, I choose all these other things, but that's actually what creates turmoil in our relationship, is not being honest, authentic, and letting ourselves be seen and owning our strategies as well.
Yeah, and it really is making me thinking about then the kind of the opportunities during this time, that even though it's challenging, really challenging for some, obviously if you have kids too, I mean, I can't
Yeah.
even, you know, imagine
No,
like
it's a
the kind
whole
of
nother
the
level.
tears of this that are happening for couples. But the opportunity around, again, kind of that awareness and identifying and being more kind of mindful about what's happening, you know, kind of that slowing down in order to really like see what's there. And then, oh, and then how do I communicate this? Oh, why don't I feel like I can communicate this, right? Like kind of being really compassionately curious around those things that might be kind of, you know, obviously like coming up. And so what has been some of the things that you've been doing, or just maybe one tool or one kind of practice that you and Nick have been doing that has helped in these situations? I'm curious.
Yeah. So one of the biggest things that has helped is we've taken quality time with each other. So
Mm.
one thing we both know, and you can ask yourself this, which is like, what are you and your partner's like top love languages? So that way you can actually get filled up. For so both of us, where we meet each other is our second to top love language is quality time. And so when we both have a tendency to numb out or watch TV, that doesn't quite fulfill that quality time with each other. So we've been doing date nights on Saturday where we dress up, we look nice, we have dinner together, we turn off the TV. But then, actually, one of my favorite things that we've been doing in our date nights is we've been doing this prompt, and we're actually going to give this as a homework assignment or practice on the call. But you share a rosebud and thorn of your week. You actually taught this to me, Natalie.
Oh, was it? Because I think
Just
it was Ginny.
Oh, Ginny, then Ginny, great. But you've also done it. So we do,
Yes,
what is
yes.
each other's rosebud and thorn of the week? Or you could say, what are your highs and lows? And just having the chance to, I think, even hear how my partner is processing everything. Like I've realized, like, it's rare for us to actually actively listen to each other for 4 or 5 straight minutes, hear his answers, get curious, and hear the way he's processing everything. And the same for me. So not only then do we get a process together, but I feel heard, I feel understood, and it gives me a chance to process a lot of what's coming up. And that has just been one of my favorite ways to connect with him is by asking that. And by as well with our quality time, with our date nights together, that's really helped too. Versus, our instead of going into our unconscious way, how we can just shove a lot of things under the rug and not prioritize that quality time with each other. So,
Yeah, you had mentioned earlier about the intentionality, or you
mhm.
mentioned that to me about how important that's been for you and Nick to just be much more intentional about your connection instead of, like you said, going into like autopilot
Yes.
and doing the things and checking off the tasks on the list and, just kind of coping. And really kind of coming back into connection versus just like our coping kind of
Yes,
strategies. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, definitely. Well, then I'm curious. So I'm assuming these are the tool, like, so this, and there's more things that we're
Mhm.
going to get into deeper. So again, for those of you that are watching, we at Core, we're like, we need to create something specifically for couples around this in a space to be more intentional, to be more connected, to be more um, uh, like creating that space of compassion and also like partnership, like support, and
Mhm.
so yeah, I would love to hear, Shandra, about like some of the things that the couples get to practice on this um, 2-hour workshop on Thursday.
Yes. So one of the big things, like you mentioned, is getting out of autopilot and actually really connecting with each other with intentionality, with presence, and diving deep together. And so part of what we'll be doing is starting to see it's not only starting to see, but own how has your survivor self shown up over this time? Like, what are some of those defenses, those strategies, those masks? Like, how have you operated on autopilot? That's probably impacted your partner as well.
Yeah.
And starting to inquire, because what's underneath that? What is that trying to protect? Or what are maybe some of those emotions underneath that maybe you might not want your partner to see because it feels a little vulnerable?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, also having an opportunity to make a request of your partner, like something that helps get to tend to that tender place. And so we'll be connecting to each other through taking this look and lens at how have our survivor selves shown up during this time? What is the impact of that? Actually being able to own that and own that with compassion as well. And then meet each other in compassion. Like we are both humans doing the best that we can during this time. We both had our frustrations, our successes, our gratitudes, our fears. Like all of this has been stirring. And so having a chance to tune into like seeing the human being that your partner is, who has their own vast world of emotions and responses to everything coming up. So it's like getting to see your partner with fresh, compassionate eyes and also being seen by your partner in that way for all of your humanity. And then finally, a lot of what we'll be doing is connecting you back to really that like sense of choice and love and connection with each other. Like what originally drew you to this person? Like what initially like ignited your heart around this person? and letting yourself sink into some of the goodness of your relationship as you now choose to move through this weird, unprecedented, and difficult time together. And then having tools to take that forward so that you can continually drop into intentionality and connection with each other.
Mm.
So that this time doesn't have to be a time where you actually drift apart or at war, and instead you get to sink deeper and come together. Like, that's the intention of this.
Yeah, and that again, back to the opportunity, right? Like, this can be just like any other time, or it could deteriorate your relationship. But what would it be like to fortify your relationship, to really set that time aside? And like Shandra said, quality time, right? Like that time where you're just, it's you and each other, really present, really open, really real,
Mm-hmm.
honest,
Listening.
listening, and compassion, and just like even thinking about that too, and there is something really beautiful about having a facilitated space to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it can be challenging. So that's the other thing I love about this, is like allowing your relationship to be supported also by core, or by the facilitators. You don't have to do this alone.
Yes.
There is a support, there's a resource here, for you to be able to do it. And just everyone, I got a sneak peek at the agenda, and I was like, oh my God, I wanted to start crying, just like, oh, the love, like coming back, like Shandra said, to the love, because the fear is very rampant right now. Our systems are on overdrive. The vigilance, is high,
Mm-hmm.
understandably. And so to be able to be with that and love that, and also, come back to the love, and the love
Mm-hmm.
between the two people is very much, you're right, like to me, the heart of, why. If you want to just share, like, who is this for, and then we can
Mm-hmm.
talk about just some of the quick logistics to give people information.
Yeah, so this is for anyone that's in a couple, a partnership. You could be living together right now, or you could actually be maybe doing a long distance relationship, but you have some sort of partnership, coupleship with each other, a romantic partnership with each other. And there's that commitment to each other. So if you are just, a lot of it, the activities will be done in partnership and with each other. So if you are hopping on Zoom, if you live in the same household, you can just both come on the same computer, because a lot of the activities will be done together. And if you're in separate spaces, like let's say you are in a long distance relationship right now, and not sheltering in place together, then you can both be on Zoom, and we'll make sure we put you in pairs together. So that way you have that space and time together. And yeah, so could be, you could also be, like in a new partnership, but you're sheltering in place. You're like, how do I navigate this together? You could be married for 20, 30, 40 years. And like, how do we navigate this together? I would say this is for anyone in that romantic partnership that is committed, that really wants to deepen in their connection with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. So the logistics of it. So it's this Thursday,
Yes.
from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time.
Yes.
It's going to be virtual. So obviously you can join in from anywhere. And as long as you have a computer, and it's at the most affordable, accessible rate of $20 per person. Again, we're just wanting right now to just create resources. So again, it's like ridiculously amazing value for this gift that Chandra and one of our other lead facilitators, Jessica Vignol, is
Mm-hmm.
offering. And so we'll share all the registration information. But yeah, you don't even need much for the workshop, just a journal and some tissues.
Yeah, journals, some tissues.
Some of this might flow or not. We don't know. But so yeah, so it's this Thursday. We would love for you to join again, like Chandra said, whether you're in a new committed relationship or one for years. Like, I was even thinking about that, regardless if they're even having challenges. I do know couples right now that
Yeah.
are, like so enjoying this time because they barely see each other, so, and how do you do even that with intention,
Yes.
and really create a space to, again, the opportunity to deepen and fortify regardless of where you're at, and just carve out that quality time for each other. So Yes, we would love for you to join. Chandra, anything else you want to say about it before we hop off?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, like, out of your full week, this is 2 hours of time fully
Yeah.
dedicated to your relationship. Like, and that's is something, especially with things like work, with things like family you're dealing with. Like, sometimes the relationship is what gets put on the back burner, our own self care. And
Yes.
this is the chance to really put your relationship first for just 2 hours during the week. And the last thing I'll say is this could be for people who have done core workshops, who have done through one of our core workshops, or if you've never done core at all, but you're just like, you
Yes.
know what, this is speaking to me, screaming to me. Yeah, I want to drop it. I want to get out of autopilot with my partner and I want to deepen with my partner right now. Whether it's we're already good and I want to sink even deeper into that and deeper into that
Yes.
connection, like really sink into that goodness, or whether it's you're struggling and you want to be able to reconnect, to connect back to that love, back to that
Mhm.
compassion and care, and feel like you're on the same team again
Mhm.
versus either pulling away or at odds. Like, it's for anyone. And so, yeah, and just last thing, me and Jessica, who have been creating this, like, we're doing this because we're like this is happening to us too. So these are all things that we've done in our relationships that have helped us navigate. And so just know we are right there with you. And that's why it's so near and dear to our hearts to lead this, because this has impacted us. And
Yes.
having someone help us through that, like guide us, even putting intention through this and what we want to do, has been so helpful for my relationship in the past 2 weeks.
Mhm.
So we'd love to give that gift to you as well.
Yes, please, everyone, take them up on this offer. I cannot even imagine a better way to spend a Thursday afternoon than with the person that I love, deepening in love and compassion and connection, and really practicing ways of, again, deepening that partnership. So, thank you for joining us today. Thank you so much, Shandra, for
Yeah.
sharing your story and for wanting to do this live, but also for putting on this workshop. So, hope you all get to see Shandra again on Thursday. All right,
Can't wait
everyone,
to
have an
see you.
amazing day.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.